and check. I'll just be checking out my stream for a minute here to make sure all the audio and everything is okay. Seems like it, yeah. Alright. Hello everybody. My name is Borden, and today I am not going to be playing a game, but I'm going to be doing an educational stream about programming. A lot of people, other streamers in fact, they're interested in programming, but they don't really know what to do and how to get into it. And so anyone can go and look up the Hello World example. That's a pretty easy thing to think about. What comes after that? See, we're gonna come at this from a command line program perspective and see what we can do to make a command line program a little bit more interesting. So, that I will bring us over to here. I've actually made everything bigger here so that hopefully it's not so tiny on the stream. We'll see how this goes because I've never actually done this before. This is system-wide, making everything, the text all bigger and stuff, and Streamlabs is not really having it. It's kind of got things poking out where they shouldn't be, but hopefully the rest of the software is set up alright, so let's go ahead and make a brand new project. I'll call this Swiss Army Knife since I'm not going to actually have I made a .NET Core command line application, and you can see already here we've got Hello World set up for us, so you know that's pretty easy. That's not really that impressive, but let's build it. Actually, let's go to the command line here. This should be nice and big for you. I'm going to turn off my header on the top, so hold on a second. Oh, wait, I actually have to do it here. Header off. Alright, now you should be able to see a little bit better. And let's go to where I put this, so I believe it was in source. Yeah. Repos. Swiss Army Knife. We can build this from the command line. See in here you got just this with the .NET command. This is something that you install when you're using .NET to build new projects and whatnot. So if I just do .NET build, it's gonna do a few things to set up, and now you'll see inside here you got the Swiss Army Knife.dll. .NET Core doesn't actually put out executables directly. They get run through the .NET executable, which is itself a sort of like on-demand .NET runtime. So if you do .NET run, oops, we've got to be in the project directory, not the solution directory. So now we're inside here with the CS project file inside. And why is this so weird? Alright, let's get this to a more reasonable size here. I'll try to make sure I don't type in the area around my head. So we can just actually clear this and try it again. In here we got the project file, and we can run it with .NET Run. And that prints out Hello World. Well, yeah, every beginner does this, but I want to see what happens if I try to pass it to something else, like, well, let's say .NET Run foobar. Well, nothing changed. That's not very surprising since it doesn't actually do anything, but when you pass in stuff like this from the command line, here inside your main, you'll see that we have Hello World, and that's what that's written out. let's do a simple for each loop on this. This will make a loop over all of these arguments. And we can print them out one by one. I'm gonna not write line. I don't want to write the new line in each of them, so I'm just gonna write it like this: arg plus space. But rather than doing that, I can do it this way: arg space. That'll print the value of the argument plus a space. Let's save that. Now, let's see what happens if I run it like that again. Look, now we've got this stuff printed out as well. So in this way, you're getting stuff that the user passes to you on the command line into your program. And you could do all kinds of stuff with this. You could start parsing it. You could do stuff like if arg equals foo found foo argument. And then if you don't pass it in, then it doesn't. And this is the kind of foundation for all the stuff that you can do, all the parsing and whatnot. But rather than do that, first thing you should ask yourself is, has somebody already done this? And I have a library that I favor for this kind of thing. So I'm gonna go to Manage NuGet Packages, browse, and search for McMaster. The most popular result here is McMaster.extensions.command-line utilities, command line parsing API and utilities for console applications. I really like this one. And so what you do in this one is, all you need to do inside of here is call, what was it again? McMaster.extensions.command-line utilities. Command line application, that's what it is. So I don't need this because I can just get it this way. That execute program. This is the name of the class here. Because this is a static, it means that it's executing outside of any context of an object. Which means that it's calling this, but if you add a variable in here, I'll just, hold on, finish that up real quick, and then to pass in the arguments to it. You can't actually reference this, because this is static and this is not. An object reference is required for the non-static field, right? So, what this does is that it parses all the arguments, then calls this based on how you set it up. So, let's say we want to do the foo argument from before. Let's see, how about we do it like this? Description equals the foo stuff. And then add public string foo. Get set. Oh, hi Borbot. Borbot's talking to us. So now, when you run this, there's actually a trick to running this. When you call it this way, it depends on having the... It's not my favorite way of doing this, but it works well enough. If you have a method exactly named this, that's what this is going to call. It doesn't call it directly, but it searches via something called reflection, which is basically asking while the program is running, do you have X thing? So when you call this, this is what's going to get executed. And notice that this is not static like this is. So that means you can use anything non-static stuff that's here, which we call instance variables. So I'm going to check if foo does not equal null, console.writeLine foo. Let's see what happens if we run this. So let's first run it just normally. Oh, I have to do a restore first because we added a package. .NET run. Oh, come on. Let's do a restore outside. Well, this is pretty odd, isn't it? This has not happened to me before. What happened to the package? Let's install it again. Sometimes weird things happen. You gotta see if you can roll with it. Let's build it from here. See that? Well, that works. That works fine. Let's try building it from here. Now it should work. Okay, yeah, it's working now. .NET run. Nothing happened. But if I pass in something like this, you see that it outputs this because of this conditional. So what happened in here is that actually the library that we added, it saw that it had a property that was marked with this option attribute, and it added a command line argument for some. It takes this and it makes it all lowercase, and adds that as a. If you add this, this is a special thing that says add a help option for me. So .NET run, if we run like this. Oh. Let's try it like this. This one just says don't pass this argument directly to this, pass it to whatever comes after it. Stop parsing arguments basically. And you'll see in here that the foo stuff is the same as what we put into here. So we get an automatic help context in here as well, which is really nice because making that is time consuming. Sorry, I'll do it again because my head's in the way. There we go. So you can pass in this, the foo stuff, and so, well, what happens if you need it to be there? And it should be a problem if it's not there. You could do this. Valid operation exception. And let's try running it with no arguments. Well, we get an invalid operation exception, just like we said would happen. But, you know, that's annoying and tedious to do all the time, so there's another thing we can do up here. Huh. Come on. There we go. You can add in this required attribute. Now, if we build this and run it this way, it'll tell us the foo field is required, and that's a much easier. Sorry. How about I move myself to the other side? Or here in the middle. Doesn't seem to be very. There. Alright, now that I'm out of the way, pretty much. Let's try that again. The foo field is required, it says. That's a much specify help for a list of available options and commands. And good, so this is exactly what we need. It's telling us what to do. Alright. Well, that's good. Now what if we want it to be a certain format? Well, we could check it in here, or we could do more with it. You want to do as much as possible with attributes, because this library will really help you out with it. So there's pre-built ones. There's one called email address. So let's try and see what happens with that. Let that run, and we'll give it a foo value of bar. The foo field is not a valid email address. Ooh. How about foo@bar.com? There we go, that passed the validation. There's a few of these in here. You can do a range if it's a number argument. So let's change this to email. And let's make it not required. Email address to use. And let's add an integer for age. This is also an option. The age of the person using the program. Not very useful information, but whatever. So let's give it a range of 0 to 99. Nobody lives to be 100. That's nonsense. So let's add something actually that does something in here. Let's make this required. So let's say if age is less than 13, console.writeLine. You are not old enough to use Twitch. And then, if the email address... Oops. What is this? Oh yeah, if email does not equal null, we'll say sending your citation to email. Then we'll say else if age is... So right now we know that the age is greater than or equal to 13. So let's say, well, if the age is greater than 65. I don't know why there's this space here. That really bothers me, but whatever. You are old enough to retire and collect benefits in the US. And then if the email is not null this time, sending your congratulations to email. Oops, congratulations. Congratulations, alright. Sending your congratulations here. Alright, let's build this now. So, let's run it by itself and see what happens. The age field is required. Okay, fine. .NET run age 5. Oh, let's run it with like a age FFFFF. Invalid value is specified for age. FFFFF is not a valid number. Very good. So how about age 5? You are not old enough to use Twitch. Sorry. Let's pass an email to it too. Borden@mail.com. Sending your citation to Borden@mail.com. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now, aren't I? I'm only 5, despite this beard. So what about .NET run age 17, email borden@mail.com. Oh, not to Gmail, to mail.com. Nothing. Perfect. We've fulfilled all the conditions. What about if the age is 80? You are old enough to retire and collect benefits in the US. Sending your congratulations to borden@mail.com. Okay. So, what if you need like a custom validator here? Well, in that case, let's make a new file. Let's call it validators. I just make my classes internal and sealed by default. It's kind of a good habit to be. Oh well, I don't actually need this class called validators. What I need is something else. So, what should we validate? I know. I have a good idea. Cool streamer validation. And it has to inherit from this class called, what's it called again? McMaster.extensions.commandline utilities. Validation. Validation builder. iValidator, that's what it's called, I think. iOption validator, that's what it's called. So iOption validator. And it has this one method that you have to implement called getValidationResult. It will pass in the option and the context. So let's leave it the way it is, throwing a not implemented exception. And let's see what happens if we add on to it streamer. And then we'll hit the cool, oh, wait, what did I call it? Yeah, cool streamer validation. Let's call it validator to be consistent. Oh wait, no, we can't just... What am I doing? Validation attribute it has to be. Validation attribute. Alright, and so this one needs to override is valid. But it takes the kind of the same stuff. Except this time you actually get the value. So let's throw a not implemented exception for now. This just means that we haven't implemented this part yet and the program is going to just sort of die. So now we can add this cool streamer validation here. And then, so let's build that and see what happens. .NET run, age 80, streamer. Come on, I can't type. MERURRDEN. Unrecognized option. Oh, duh. Because I forgot to add the option bar. Your favorite streamer. Oops. Let's build that. And so yeah, you see that it's made it into the method to try to validate it, but all we did was throw an exception, so that's not good. So instead, why don't I have this predefined list? Read-only list string cool streamer list. New list of string. Oops. And now we can start adding people. Let's see. Who is on around right now? Let's see, we've got Hangout Hut. Rubik's. Got Coco Confession. Shroom E. Captain K-Man. Fish 753. Maven Madness, I think. Wait, did I spell that right? Maven's Madness, sorry. Maven's Madness, who else should we add in here? Who do I watch a lot? Who's in my list a ton right now? Well, we'll stick with this list. We'll start out with this. Alright. So now, here's what we do in here. It returns a validation result. So, what I want to do is I want to see, this should be a string. String value, oh. You know what? Let's make this a collection. It doesn't have to be in order because we're just going to see if it's there or not, so it's going to be a hash set. A hash set, as opposed to a list, is just a collection of stuff that's not in order, but it's very fast to remove and add things to because it doesn't need to maintain the order. And it's very fast to search for stuff inside of it. So if cool streamer list contains value, return validation result dot success. But otherwise, we have to return new validation result with an error message inside of it. Sorry, that streamer is not cool enough. Alright. Ow. Alright, so let's test that out, shall we? So if I put in myself... Uh-oh, sorry, that streamer is not cool enough. Got rejected. But if I put in any of the other ones, Hangout Hut, you old enough to retire, not good. Coco Confession, that's good. Captain K-Man. Ooh. So yeah, you can see, like now, I've got some kind of arbitrary logic running on my commands. Alright, so that's all good. Very nice. What else can we do with this? We can actually add validation onto the entire program itself, too. Let's see if I can remember how to do that. Program validation attribute. Validation. Program validation attribute, there we go. Oh wait, that's the same thing I just did. Duh. Okay, so it's not actually, this one has to be done a little bit differently. Program validator. Program validator. Let's see what that has. Alright, actually I've forgotten how to do this, so I'm gonna look up how to do it. McMaster command line utilities. Required options and arguments. Attributes. Aha. So, max size of oh, so this is also just a validation attribute. Okay. And the value gets passed in is the actual program itself. Okay, I got it. So what it's saying is that this is also program validation attribute. Same as before, we inherit from validation attribute, right? Yep. But let's make sure that this one only gets used on classes. Alright, so what do we want to do in here? I want to override as usual. Is valid. And let's just do something simple like this. If not... This is just a quick way of checking that throw new invalid operation exception. Wrong type of object. Blah, whatever. Not such a descriptive error message, but this makes sure that we have a type of program, which is the type of our program. And we're gonna just add this while we're here, program validation. So, now that we have an actual program, so if I have a streamer specified, then that's gonna override everything else. And then if p dot, I suppose I should have chosen a bit of a more difficult case for this. If p dot well, actually, I'm curious what happens if we just return success all the time. Will that override this required argument here? Let's see. No, it will not. Very good. H field is required. Alright. So let's make another option here, just to see how this works. Just to show how this works, I mean. Your favorite food. This doesn't need any validation, so we'll just put it in like this. And then going back to the program validators. If p.streamer equals null and p.food equals null, return new validation result. You must specify either your favorite streamer or favorite food. Return validation result. Success. Alright. Let's go with that. And the age is still going to be required because that's there. So I'll put an age that doesn't do anything. Let's put in my real age. 33. And run like that. You must specify either your favorite streamer or food. Streamer Borden. Sorry, that streamer is not cool enough. Ugh. Okay, food. Broccoli. And that was accepted because we specified either the food or the streamer. Right? Okay. Next. So now you can see how we've easily just built and built just a little bit, and we've gotten all kinds of free stuff out of this. For example, remember this? Now it's got all of this stuff in here. We didn't have to add that at all, it just figured it out by itself. Alright. We can also do other kinds of things. It doesn't have to be like, we've done so far, everything has a value on it, but it doesn't have to be a value, actually. You put in a bool, which is true or false. On. Turn on cool stuff. Let's see what happens if we do is on. Is on. Turn on cool stuff. See, there's no value here. And if you try to add a value to it, it's not going to work that well. It'll say unrecognized command or argument foo. I believe there's a way to get it without all these switches on, so you can just type in arguments directly, but I won't go into that. I'll leave that as an exercise for the viewer to find out. Let's see, what else could we do on this that might be interesting? I think that will probably be enough to get you past the Hello World stage and onto a command line application. So maybe this seems cool to you, maybe it doesn't, but I can tell you this. If you start experimenting like this and setting up command line programs like this way, then you will start to learn how to do other things, and it'll get you the, because otherwise you're just going to be sitting there thinking like, oh, how do I get into this stuff? This is how you can get into it. This is a simple way to design a program that you might be able to use for something. Maybe you had an idea for how to do something or whatnot. You can make a program that, basing on this, at least now you have something that you can execute. And you can build upon that to do whatever you want. So, let me give an example of doing something beyond just sort of printing stuff to the command line. So let's get rid of all this. And start over from here. Get rid of that. Get rid of these. And let's just add in a URL. Thing to download. Let's make this required. Alright, hold on a second here. There. public string output option, the place to download to. Both of these are required, because you can't download something without saying what to download and where to download it from. So, this is a statement in C#. This using statement, look, come on, why is it only giving me 3 spaces? That's so weird. Alright. So this using statement is the same as this. Alright, so this is what is happening. I'm not doing it wrong. I am an expert, Virtual. You better stop. This is what that was equivalent to. So you make it this object, which is actually iDisposable. iDisposable in C# is just something that says, I have native resources, stuff that can't be managed by C#, and you need to call this to be efficient. Yes, I know that's your trademark. Did you file it with the Patent Office? Because apparently now for copyright you can't sue somebody unless the copyright has actually finished being approved. That's just a new change in the US law, where before it was okay, as long as it was in process you could start the lawsuit against somebody, but now you have to wait 3 to 6 months for it to be finished. That is kind of a big deal for Twitch streamers, because whereas before, I mean, you can still initiate takedowns and stuff, that's okay, but suing for monetary damages is now prohibited unless you have already gotten either, it can be approved or denied, but if it's denied then you have to do more proof in court to get your damages. And there's already a backlog of 3 to 6 months, but the Supreme Court said, look, we know it's a problem, but the law is the law, and that's what we have to go by. So this will free up native resources quickly, and this is just this thing I did before was just a shortcut for that. Because it's such a common pattern that they built it right into the compiler. So, let's also in stream we gotta make this async now because we're doing asynchronous stuff. InStream equals HTTP client dot get async. And then we'll put in the URL that we typed onto the command line. But I want to do an await on this. You see, if you don't do await, then get async returns a task. Stream relevant questions. Lots of them. Like what? What's an example of your stream related question? But if we type await here, and when we do await, by habit I just do configure await false, which should be the default, but it's not. Now the in-stream is actually the HTTP response message. Dot ensure success status code. This will throw an exception if we get a 404 or something that they might not have been. If they are covered, then I will tell you that they've been covered. And let's see. For Outstream, File, Open Right, Output, then wait, InStream.copy2. Where is the, oh, oops. I actually forgot that there's another step in here. This is not the in-stream, this is the response. Response.ensure. Stream equals await response dot get content. Get. Ooh. I can just do a copy to async here. Cool. That's, I didn't actually know that before. Copy to async outstream. I am going to upload this one to YouTube. If I'm doing stuff like this, this is a video that's targeted for YouTube release after the specified amount of time has passed for the affiliate agreement. I have to wait for 24 hours before I transfer them over, but it'll also be on the VOD. So, now you got a HTTP client which is actually going to do stuff. This is supposed to live for your entire program, but since this is the entire program, it's fine to do it this way. So, but now, since this is asynchronous, we have to do execute async. Let's just do wait. This is not great form, but we'll do it anyway. Build that. Now we can run it. And if we run it by itself as before, it's going to say invalid template pattern. Uh-oh. I forgot the... oh, darn it. Description equals. Description equals. The description there. Let's try that again. The output field is required. Okay. Output arg. The URL field is required. Okay. URL https www.google.com. Ooh, done. Now let's look inside this folder. See, now we have this program called, or not this program, this file called arg in here that's been downloaded. Let's have a look at it. Wow, this is some HTML. I wonder what'll happen if we add on the Hooray! Open with Google Chrome. And now we have sort of a local copy of the Japanese version of Google, which has been downloaded via my web request. But for example, let's get rid of that. How about we do googly? That should throw an exception. Should being the keyword, but it looks like it won't do that. So let's we're gonna have to do something that requires a newer version of C#. So to change the version of C#, come down here to build, advanced. This is the latest major version, which is 7.0. We'll switch to the latest minor version, which right now is 7.3. And with that, we can actually switch this. Async task. let's leave configure await off of that, because there, I'll add await to this and execute it asynchronously instead. Oh, I didn't explain that part because I figured people would get that far on their own. The question is, can you explain your workflow from the very beginning? No driver. I assume no drivers are needed. You need an editor, a compiler. What are they? This is Visual Studio. Just very easy. Search for Visual Studio, and it'll take you to visualstudio.microsoft.com. And Visual Studio IDE, download for Windows Community 2017. And there you will get this file, and you just open it and install the stuff that you want. But well, I guess I should show you what I installed. I already have this installer. So the installer is actually kind of like a gateway to doing a whole bunch of other things. So you see here I have Visual Studio Community installed. Actually, there's an update here that I could get. But rather than do that, when you install it, you'll actually see this screen with a bunch of workloads on it. Visual Studio limit you to Microsoft stuff. You have to define what Microsoft stuff is. You can build whatever you want with it. I have .NET Desktop environment, desktop development with C++, Universal Windows Platform development, as well as mobile development with .NET. And this is the one that I'm using right now, .NET Core Cross-Platform Development. Nope. They can't actually really do that unless they made their own language. But since you can compile C++ on here and C#, that means you can build cross-platform stuff on here. It won't limit you. It can't impose that kind of limitation as an IDE. It's really the language that you use that imposes that limitation. So this is the one I'm using right now. So these other ones you don't actually need them to do what I'm doing at the moment. Let's see if this helped us out a bit. Build. I wonder if that's actually a real website. Let's try HTTP by itself. Interesting. I'm scared to look at what's inside now. Well, you actually can't write Arduino stuff with the Visual Studio IDE because it doesn't support Arduino. You have to use Arduino's software for that. Boardbot's still okay, yeah. So, how about let's try that. There we go. Now we actually got something like an error. No such host is known. Cool. Oh, it's a squatter. But I don't want a squatter. I want something that returns a 404. So how about I do this? Google.com/doesn't exist. There we go. And we'll see here we got response code does not indicate success, 404 not found. Very good. That's something that's going to return an error? No, that's your server. It's not going to return an error. I want something that returns an error. Because I wanted to show how it won't do it if it gets an error. But if it does, then it'll save it to the disk. But actually, this is sort of the end of the video here, where I show how you can go beyond just writing stuff to the console like I did in the beginning of the video. And this can be kind of the jump into getting into programming, because a lot of people don't know where to start, and because they don't know where to start, they can't actually practice doing anything, and since they can't practice doing anything, they can't learn anything. They can't learn anything, they just wish they could do stuff. So I'm kind of trying to create the catalyst here to get people into a position where they can do something beyond just writing a simple program that runs and does one thing. So now that you have the ability to parse your command line arguments and do some logic based on them and validate them and stuff, it should set you up nicely for the future. And let's see, this video is just under an hour long, so I think that's a good place to end it, to make sure that it doesn't get too long for people to watch in one sitting. I mean, it probably already is too long for people to watch in one sitting, but all the more reason to call it off here. So, actually, I'll send you over to another development stream, since I'm doing development today. Ooh, a 403 error. Let me try that one. Let's go back here for just a second. http lol.com fix. Nothing's happening. Are you sure? Yeah, can't connect to this website. Maybe it needs the trailing slash. Nope. Sorry, out of luck. Haha. That means it should get the error over here too, yeah. Connection attempt failed because the connected party did not respond properly after a period of time. Sorry, it must be broked. Isn't that always the case? Oh dear. Alright. So, that's the end for today. It's just 58 minutes now. We're going to be going over to see Mike in Principle. He's a Unity developer who also uses C#, and he's making a game, trying to get it onto Steam. No, he released it on the Steam, and now he's working on an update. So, I hope that you will enjoy seeing him. And I will see you all tomorrow, I guess. I'm going to be playing games again. And have a nice day or night wherever you are.